Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Today is Thursday, Thankful Thursday, December 16th, 2021. I raised my hand because I got it right, and I'm excited for my own self. Good morning. Good morning. We have a guest scheduled to be in this morning. I was just texting with her, and she's trying to figure out the system to get in. So hopefully she can get in, but we will go ahead and proceed. Let's go in the cafe and see who is in the Java fam this morning. Daryl, good morning. Good to see you in the room, sir. Good to see you in the room. Misha, my baby sister, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Good to see you. Stephanie, good morning. Good to see you in the room. And Pastor Marion, good Thursday. Thankful morning to you as well. While we're waiting for our guest city councilor, Tania Anderson, to get ready to come in the room, go ahead and hit that share button. Make sure that if you get the notification to be notified when we go live, go ahead and accept that notification. But just want to remind you that as seats are filling up, we have the Java Cafe that is taking place this Saturday, December 18th at 3 p.m. Go ahead and register. Registration is required. I didn't put it on the flyer. I'll update it. Masks are required as well, unless you are eating or drinking, and there's going to be a lot of good food there. I actually have to get the menu posted as well. But that's taking place this Saturday at 3 p.m. And we are having a panel, a one-on-one interview first, but we are having a panel. A highlight of Saturday's, or the highlight attraction of Saturday's event, is a panel coming from the theme, What's Next for Black Boston, with my esteemed guests, Shauna Bryant, Kurt Faustine, Conan J. Harris, Shagun Idawu, and Tanisha Sullivan. And when I tell you this is a lineup upon lineups upon lineups in reference to the subject, you definitely want to be in the room. And if you're not able to be there, I understand there's going to be a little bit of snow and rain, but we're proceeding. We're from Boston. We're from New England. We're going to go ahead and discuss this subject. What's next for Black Boston? And again, you can tell by the guests there, it's going to be a very intense, passionate, mobilizing, real conversation. But prior to the panel, I am getting the opportunity to speak with Joseph Gilmore. He is the Cannabis Fund manager for the Boston Equity Program. Basically, the money that comes in from the marijuana sales that comes to the city of Boston, some of that money goes to that fund. And in our first live Java Cafe, we talked about green space and Black equity in the cannabis industry. And so we're kind of following up from that as we're getting ready to talk about what's next for Black Boston. And so Joseph Gilmore will be my guest. If you remember, the wonderful, and our guest was just able to pop into the room, our wonderful Chanel Remy from R&B and Chill is going to help set cafe vibes. And also, you've heard him on the Java Cafe before, DJ Newt. He is going to be spinning some Christmas music as well. And so that's taking place on Saturday at 3 p.m. And at the event, support Black-owned businesses. We have 4 vendors, actually 5, because your boy's selling some things, some merchandise as well. But Life's Paper, stationery with Afrocentric value. You can go to lifespaper.com to see some of the examples of the items that will be for sale on Saturday. Also, author Heidi Ivey, award-winning multi-best-selling author, Black Girl Cry, What Black women need to know to amplify their voices. And you can follow her on Facebook at Heidi Lewis Ivy and Black Dollar. My friend DL and also Rockland has curated this movement to get us to spend our Black dollar in Black areas. And we're doing that on Saturday at a small Black-owned event by a Black female at the Underground. Shout out to Nia Grace. And Black Dollar, they will be making the official unveiling of the new Black Dollar Soul Intact hoodie. We will have the classic t-shirts in limited sizing as well. Be intentional with your Black Dollar, and you can follow them on all social media platforms at Black Dollar 7 US. And then finally, ZNT Arts. ZNT Arts is a multifaceted brand that focuses on creating opportunities of joy through art. I express my art by centering Blackness from a place of beauty and truth, exploring modalities of painting, illustrations, jewelry, and design, and more. And you can go and see some of her products at zntarts.com. Without further ado, because I do have a guest in the room and I do not want to delay her, I'm glad she was able to work through the StreamYard functionality. But I am excited to get ready to introduce to some and present to others our city councilor-elect, Tania Fernandez, who is the city councilor for District 7 coming in on January 3rd. And so, councilor, shout out to you. We just want to celebrate you in the victory that you did. You had a wonderful victory because you won with the mandate. And so it's good to see you in the room this morning. Good morning with your beautiful self. I just love your energy and love you. And so go ahead, come off of mute, say good morning to the people, and we'll get started.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing well, and I'm shouting. You got on red and black. Are you wearing red?
It's like a burnt orange, like reddish burnt orange.
Well, it looks red on the screen, so we'll just go ahead and say thank you for being in brand this morning, because you know that's my color. That's my color. But good morning. How are you, counselor?
Good morning. How are you? Sister Tania is good. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sister Tania, I love it. I love it. And so you've been on before. You've handled some constituent services, and you ain't even in office yet when you were on a few weeks ago. And so I want people to get the opportunity to know a little bit about you. But before we do that, this is a mental health space, and you ran for office. You are in transition. There's the whole conversation about the city council president. So I would like to ask you, though, counselor, as Tania, as a woman, as Sister Tania, how are you doing? How would you describe your mental health status by using just one word?
Wow, that's a tough one. One word. One word. Wow.
She's thinking about it, so you know it's going to be authentic and in real time. And
oh, I know.
Is, but yeah. I can't wait to get into the convo. But go ahead.
How about babushka?
Now, I've heard the word before, but you're going to have to, what you call it. You know, I'm limited. I'm single lingual. You know, I don't have the wonderful privilege of being trilingual. And so I speak a little bit Ebonics, but no, go ahead. I'm sorry. What babushka? What does that mean?
Ebonics is my favorite, just for the record.
What does that mean, though?
Oh, so the babushka dolls are, the dolls, I don't know what they call them in English, but the dolls that go inside each other, the Russian dolls.
Okay. Yes. Yep. Okay. So, we can unpack that just a little bit. And so why do you say that? Why? I would hear things like layers, finding new things. Give us some context why you said babushka.
I have a 42-year-old babushka Russian doll set. There was a Russian man who came to West Africa who was very kind to my 16-year-old pregnant mother at the time and gave her this set, and I have it still. And so I always like to reference it because it says so much about people being kind and what my mom had to go through when she was expecting me. And so I try to remember how fortunate and how blessed I am to be here. So all of those layers that are unpacking, and when you're in public, you have to just be one big babushka. But then when you come home, you start pulling out until you're just like this little girl, right? And so you have to love that little girl inside the babushka.
No, because you broke it down so wonderfully, and you know, it's so interesting how we're conditioned to oftentimes think from a deficit based. And so when you first said that, I'm like, oh, you're working a lot and you're pulling it apart and you're seeing layers and da da da. And while that may be true in some context, you talked about babushka from a place of gratitude. And
Yeah.
so that speaks to kind of who you are and your philosophy sort of on life. And I've had the pleasure of talking with you a few times. Tell us a little bit you know, from that time of you being 16, your mom being 16 years old, you're from West Africa. I heard that. Tell us a little bit about who is Tania Anderson Fernandez.
So I'm only what my parents are, what my ancestors are,
Mm.
and they are phenomenal people. My mom had a hard story, um, and at 16, by 21, she had three children. So myself, my brother, and my sister. She came to the U.S. for the American dream, and thereafter, 6 years later, I would join her here. My uncle, who was 15 at the time, took it upon himself to take care of us and his six siblings. So there was a lot of us in the house, you know, the neighbor that didn't have a place to go, the maid that we couldn't pay for anymore, and her kids and the friends' kids. So there was like 20 plus people at the house. And we grew up in a very humbling condition, no TV, no refrigerator. I slept on floors, you know, no furniture really. Like the furniture that we had left was what held up was like the dining table. And I remember always being at the dining table with all of my family, and we would get extra chairs and like buckets that we flip over and you sit on, and but everybody had to fit. My uncle made sure of that. And you know, he would be a man who took care of me and my siblings. I got on the plane at 10, and he told me, when you get there, you're the oldest. When you get there, make sure that you help your mom. You're the oldest. As soon as you can work and help her. Don't forget about your siblings. Help her get them out of this country. Um, and so I would get here, and immediately I'm thinking, I gotta work, I gotta work, I gotta work. And I would move to Academy Homes, my first home in Roxbury. And when I start talking about this stuff, I get very emotional because I've never had to tell people my story. So um, hopefully one day I'll get strong enough that I don't get so emotional. I get emotional mess. Yesterday,
Listen, you're fine. I cry here all the time in the middle of anything. So,
okay.
this you can cry, snot, all of that. Roll out on the floor. You good.
Well, last night I was crying in front of like Sheena and you know Shagun and all of them, and now I'm just like I don't want to have to cry all the time in front of people, but um, you know I met this new people, right? So there was the African Americans, the Puerto Ricans, the Vietnamese who lived in Academy Homes, and the African American people, I believe, saved my life, right? African American women in particularly. I would go to work for Roxbury Multi Service Center, and there, yep, Miss Claudia
Oh,
and Barbara Boulette,
yes.
Richard O'Brien, all of them took care of me.
God, this is going back, Tanya. Okay, sorry.
Yep, yep. And I would be a peer leader, and for 5 years I worked there. And here's a story: like I was 12 years old, home alone with an aunt, and with my two aunts. One was pregnant. She would go into labor, and I delivered her baby. And so the newspapers started coming in. 12-year-old cool-headed delivers baby, blah blah blah. And so Barbara finds out about this, and also about some writing that I was doing for the Boston Herald, um, and would recruit me to go work for her. So I just stayed working in human service. Like I just continued on. Inevitably, I guess it was my calling. I would work in public health for now about 29 years. Um, and so when I say that to people and they look at me and they're like, 29 years,
I had
where?
that thought too, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. But I'm almost 43. So um, that's how I got here. I went into working for Bon Geneva Main Streets, and by way of opening my own businesses and The previous director there, realizing that I was an entrepreneur and she felt that I would be good for the job, and then got involved into policies and understanding red tapes that we face in opening businesses and as entrepreneurs, not building real wealth, right? Social determinants of health, putting this public health with, economic development, tying those two together. I realized that there was a lot of work to be done on the legislative side, so I decided to run.
So you just messed me up, because I was about to ask you a question of why did you decide to run? Because, oftentimes people said, James, you need to run. And I'm like, nah, I'm better on the outside. And so what was, since you already answered my question, let me think of a new one. What was a circumstance? What was an incident? What was a story that kind of, because people probably have been in your ear pushing you, hey, you should think about running for office. Hey, you should think about running for office. Knowing you, you're probably like, I'm all set. Maybe not me. State Rep El Ugaro was on yesterday, and she said something about the process being nasty. You know what I mean? And so there is a lot that you take on in running. So what was the final thing that made you say, yep, I'm going to jump in D7?
The final thing was actually honestly believing in myself. There's a lot that happens where we create a facade for the public, and we overestimate people's sensitivities. And what we do is we project that they are strong and that we're not, right? And I think that it's sort of that thing that then you question, how can I handle people talking about me, or will I be able to handle when they ridicule me or, bash me or whatever? I had to pray and ask God to really guide my decision, honestly, to ready me for this task, for this journey. And for days I've cried, and I've, asked my elders and my mother-in-law, Fadila Muhammad, my son's grandmother, who passed away in February. And before she passed, she would tell me that, you really need to consider this. I believe this is a calling. And this is a brilliant woman. And I question nothing that she advised me. So I went on to really thinking that I couldn't do it. And I think Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley talks a lot about the imposter syndrome. I don't feel like I'm an imposter. I feel like I wonder if I'm equipped with the tools to ready the public, the people, to not judge me when I make space to be like, to use Ebonics, to be in my space, to be real, to just be me. I don't want to change how I talk. I just want to be me. Like, I speak 6 languages. Do I need to do that for you? Do I need to show you that I'm right?
Yep.
And so I just want to be me. And so I wonder if I'm equipping people with those tools to not judge me when I'm just me, when I'm just raw, when I'm just real. And so I figured I have a plan. I have 2 years, and all I got to do is fight. And I'm not fighting nobody. I'm just working. I'm doing the work. All I got to do is be unapologetically me. All I got to do is make space so that the next Black woman, so that the next undocumented immigrant can figure it out, so that the next Muslim can actually make way. So that when you go into City Hall, yes, we're invested in a system that we're trying to rehabilitate.
That's a good way to put it. Go ahead. Sorry.
And that very system that holds our check, and the people pay the check, right? And the system hold the check. So how do we then make space and fight the white drop, the white backdrop? How do we do that in a way that folks are going to understand? It's all right. I can just come up to you and be like, hey, what's up? And you're good with that. I don't need to speak this lingo. I don't need to make you feel like I'm smart enough, or I belong, or I'm not an imposter. I don't need to do any of that. And I came to a space, thank God, that I'm going to give them hell. It's whatever.
So a couple of things I heard there from you, Counselor. One is authenticity. And as someone who is in a space that was unsolicited, not desired, I've often told people that the reason that any appearance of success of this platform is because I'm my authentic self. Good, bad, ugly, can cry, be praying for somebody 1 minute and then cussing somebody in the next. I am just me. And so I heard some things there from you that I have to say, as someone that has moved in politics in this city, in punditry and now commentary, it is hella refreshing to hear you say that you're not going to go in and change who you are. There is some, and we use this word lightly, code switching, that is maybe, and I'm getting this in real time from you talking, maybe a conditioning that we've succumbed to instead of just being, our authentic self. All other, you said the white drop, that culture is very heavy in the systems. And so I'm feeling this in real time. Why do we have to subject negating our culture to get things done? I love how you also have already named succession. You said I got 2 years. Now, the people may come and say, hey, we want you for 2 more years. But you also talked about succession already, and you ain't even sworn in yet. So anyway, let me back up. So you're going to go in and fight. I love how you said, you clarified very quickly, I'm not fighting people. I'm going in to fight and bring hell. And so one of the ways that we're aware of that you are going to bring hell to a system is through the process. And I had Councilor Hicks on, and we were talking about, you and I text about it. We were talking about the process of the city council president. And out of that, you are the first, is it the first African-American woman to oversee Ways and Means?
Yep.
Hold on. Listen, we might as well put these little sound effects to use for something because I don't use them. So what does that mean to you? What does that mean to a small business owner, a Black woman who, I'll sum it up from what you said, probably is used to putting pennies together? What do they used to say? Trying to make a dollar out of 15 cents. What does that mean to you?
That means a lot. I will do whatever it takes with integrity, of course. I mean, that goes without saying. Or I will try my best to do it with humility, right?
Yep.
'Cause it is what it is. We're human, we're limited. Um, if it means that I can fight to put money in Black hands, whatever it means for Roxbury, that's my focus. That's my interest. That's what I'm going to do. That's the job. So for me, that's what it means. That negotiating process gets messy. It's right. Nika's right. Kendra's right. It's messy. Politics is just like you see it on TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of minutia maneuvering. That's
a good way, Counselor. That's a good way to put it.
And I ain't code switching. It is what it is. Like, look, I feel like that it took a lot of methodical strategizing on my part, right? But I was ready to do whatever it took for me to be in a good position for Roxbury, and that's what that means for me. I said what I said. I did what I did. I aligned myself in the way that I aligned myself to make sure that Roxbury was going to be all right.
I'm going to jump in and just because I'm over here in the corner, and usually when I have guests, I don't pay attention because it sometimes can throw me off. And I see how my guests read at the bottom as well. But Thaddeus Miles is in the room, and he says, I love how she's moved from her comfort zone, though her fear zone, through her fear zone to learning and growth zone. What a powerful example. And so people are really just enjoying you. Dalita, I wish we could burn the system down and start over, but I'll take rehabilitate for now. And so it is so good. Kevin Higgins is in the room as well. And so
good morning.
It's so awesome to hear this cadence from you because for a I'm 50 and no expert or whatever, but I've been in Boston politics for a little while and I've seen some things. And so, and I'll be honest with you, Counselor, I've been excited and hopeful before and, disappointed. And I love how you said we're human, we're limited. And so, there may be times when, because you all have a awareness of some information that the public may not be aware of. So sometimes making decisions, and some of us may be out here like, what's going on? Because we were kind of like that a little bit with the council presidency thing, but hearing your cadence, I'm walking away with, knowing that, and you said, with integrity and humility. So it's just very refreshing to hear this, and not saying that no one else, prior candidates, folks that have been on, but it's just my take from you from the beginning is real and authentic. Even when you have to say something like nicely, like Tanisha does, she'll say something and cut you, and then she puts that smile on after. Even when you have to do that, and so you're going in, you're representing District 7, and Ways and Means it's the entire city. You also have, and this one I want to make sure that folks really understand, because council referred to her past as an entrepreneur, but let's talk a little bit about you and the other committee that you're in charge of. What is that other committee, Councilor? Say it louder. Say it without smiling. What is the other committee that you have?
I'd hate to break it to say it to you, but I don't know if I'm going to do both.
Now I hear something there. I hear focus. I hear, but what was the potential? And then how do we
The potential committee that is arts and culture. And yes, I'm so right. So the way that we look at holistic stabilization is we're always saying mental health. We say, but when we break it down to familial supports, then we have community, right? Communal, and then you have medical. You don't incorporate mental health, and now we're beginning to do that, which is great. But what we have to always include is arts. Arts is a part of our holistic living, of our holistic wellness, and we can't get there without arts. And the other thing too is with arts, we should be able to benefit, right, in an economic way. And so there's no upper mobility for Blacks in the arts department or other in the city of Boston. When we look at opportunities or economic development, we don't really have those opportunities for Blacks in Boston. So not only integrating arts with industries is going to create these opportunities and workforce development, but also just financial independence in a way that you can do your art and be happy. And the tourist market in Boston, the small business should all be integrated with arts. We should be able to actually contract our small businesses to provide school lunch. We should be able to contract our small businesses that create arts to provide whatever that we need in the city of Boston. And it's that level of economic ecosystem that we have to create with arts and 21st century industries that's going to move us forward as a city.
And if those that know the Java with Jimmy Cafe know when I smile and take a minute to get my thoughts together, it means that there's so much going on in my head. And so I didn't hear whether or not is the arts committee questionable because you want to focus on Ways and Means? You also have an opportunity, Councilor, to be the sort of facilitator for a new process that is now being incorporated based on question 1. And so,
right.
And so tell us about what are your thoughts about that? This is the first budget process where we will have participatory budgeting. And so that is for someone like you. I'm sure you're like, yes, Ways and Means, participatory budgeting. Yo, let's go and kill this. I'm sure that something like that has crossed your mind. What is your approach to it? How are you going to look at it? Not if, but how are you going to ensure the community is really involved in the process? We know timing. There's some budgets that were already submitted for fiscal year 22, blah, blah, blah. And so what does it mean to you to be able to be in Ways and Means in the first time we're going to have participatory budgeting? How excited are you about that?
I'm very excited. I mean, I think it's perfect. You have participatory process that has yet to be strategized, right? There's actually not a plan on plan of execution. Then you have Ways and Means, of course, that oversees all of Boston. But I think that every time we talk about participatory anything, every time we say to our people, for example, like the choice of lesser of two evils is always what we get left with, right? And this is what happened this time around, which is fine, but which is not fine, actually. And so the idea that we have participatory budget process and now, you know, a Black woman overseeing, a Black woman from Roxbury overseeing it. It's not just for me to say, okay, let's figure out how to actually do this plan so you guys can actually participate, but it's actually for me to look at it, not only the strategy, plan of execution, but also is there, you know, be preventative about it. So look at—
Hold on. What does that mean? Be preventative of what? Because
about this entire plan, meaning that in advance we think of a monitoring system that's going to actually measure whether or not we're effective. If we are not thinking, you know, if we're not forward thinking in that way, then we're left with always coming back to I'm so sorry, I kind of lost you
happens.
there.
You probably got to go back to the screen, look for Chrome or whatever. If you're on a Mac, look for the web browser. I can still see you, so you're good, but I know it's sometimes good to see ourselves when we're talking. But that happens all the time here. People call me on purpose at 9 a.m. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Like, really? Bruh, stop it.
Look, you know somebody that's on right now talk about, I see you on Facebook.
Stop it. And then it's somebody well known too. I'm about to call him out. Stop it.
Call him out so I can call him out too. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The point is, we got to figure out if there's a monitoring committee of some sort that is going to create oversight on this process. So it can hold me accountable as the committee chair, so that it can also hold the mayor accountable, but then it can also, for the whole process, is this working? What we've designed, is it working? And if it's not working, can we pilot it for a year or two and figure out how to modify it so that we're effective? And I feel like it's not just a plan. The issue when we are in Black communities, and this is why it's important to always hire Black, elect Black, support Black, buy Black, because we get stuck with a point where, like, how is she going to understand? Well, I'm already thinking about the frustrations that we're left with every single time when there's something like this. We celebrate it. So people are like, are you excited? And I'm like, for what? What are we celebrating yet? Because I haven't really accomplished anything. And so people are like, they don't get it. No, I'm very thankful, but to my voters, because those are the people that I know, and going back to the point of participatory process, that I know that believed in me and loved me. And so we are left with always the frustration of, oh, they gave us a participatory process. Okay, we celebrate. Yay, participatory. Oh my God, yeah. And then later, what does that mean though? How will we actually make sure that people are heard, that people are seen? And so I'm thinking about the mediation skills, and I'm thinking about making sure that people are respected in these processes, right? So that if you're heard, that I actually take that information and actually consider them, as opposed to just— go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
You good? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to finish. As opposed to just hearing you and saying, yes, thank you, you know, but actually seeing you and actually respecting you. And respect means money. Respect means monetary value. Like, what am I if I respect you, I love you. If I love you, I care about how you're living. Right. And so it's not just like, I hear you, you came, you spoke. There's a process. We can actually say there's a process, but what happens with that process? So I know it's a lot of work. So I want to just go back to the arts and culture thing and say, I'm an artist. I support artists. I can do so much with artists in placemaking, activating spaces, and you know, your block parties or your fairs or celebrations of any sort. I'm all for it. Let's go. Let's collaborate. Let's go. But I can do that without sharing arts and culture, where Ways and Means is what is going to bring or allocate funds for those art pieces, for those art projects.
So you may not be the lead of Ways and Means, but whoever does, I'm sure you're going to work closely with them.
Of arts and culture.
Yes. And when they say, hey, we need this line item in the participatory process. This is what we're thinking. Hopefully that person is going to hear from the community, because just to tap into that a little bit, I'm new in that space. I don't consider myself, an artist, but I'm in a creative space just with this platform. And so I've always appreciated the arts, being a former church boy and singer and all that. But it is important that the artists are sustained. And I also think in this, we're still in a pandemic, but the gig economy, and gig workers and 1099, workers that have flexibility, that have, they're entrepreneurs. And a lot of them, at the last numbers I heard about, the biggest number of entrepreneurs in the United States right now are folks that kind of look like you, Black women. You know what I'm saying? So it is so awesome to hear that this is your vision. In real time, I just thought about this because you're good on your P's and Q's. And also, I just want to hear your philosophy. What is one thing, counselor, that you either foresee or have in the back of your head that may be a challenge in which now you can get ready to prep us so we can support you?
I think that there's going to come a time that um two things. I think that there's going to come a time that we disagree, and I want to vow for my dedication, for my investment in my people,
Hmm.
and say that that means that I've already forgiven the people that may say not very nice things to about me or to me.
Yep. Yep.
And I ask for that grace. I ask for patience, and I ask for people to forgive me in advance, that I will not do this perfectly. And I know that. I ask for in advance for people to allow me the opportunity to speak and hash out, you know, issues. And the other thing, the challenge is when filing ordinances or even something as home rule petition, the community participation and support is really important. So I will do my part in making sure that I'm very communicative, very uh, transparent in conveying what's happening and updating the public, my constituents. And I hope that I will gain the support of people actually participating and joining these hearings so that we can push it through. Um, yeah. So I'm really excited about that because I think that I've thought through, the plan of engaging and civic engagement and communicating with the public. So I've actually applied for capstone and getting students from Northeastern to come in to do the research and also to do a website. So I have two teams. One is a faculty professor friend she's going to have her entire classroom go back out and canvas with me in the spring to be able to actually engage people in a real way again. I'm so excited because I hired my team, and I think we're going to look like Notorious B.I.G. rap cover, but whatever, what I'm saying? If they don't respect this,
Yes.
it's all good. Like, whatever, like we doing this. So I got I can't share the names yet, but once y'all know,
Look. I was about to ask. Anything I be trying to drop some gems here. The first here, we dropped y'all committee assignments here, but go ahead.
Once y'all know who my team is, like I'm super excited for them.
Can you give a hint? Something? I'm stepping into my little journalist space.
I can give you one.
Okay.
Do you know the artist slash event strategist and nonprofit guru Kalamu Kieta?
I don't. Probably not by name, but probably by face. But the three things you just said. So what are they again?
He's an artist.
He's an artist. Yep.
And he's worked in nonprofit. And he is an event strategist and planner. So he's done a lot of these community events and bringing people together. and strategizing, working toward sustainable living and economic development. So he's done a lot of work with DSNI as well and other places, and
Okay.
he could speak better to his resume, but I'm super excited about him. He's an amazing artist. He's one of the artists that actually did the murals with Kim Janey and all those on by Black Market.
Yes. Yep. Right there. Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is okay. So that speaks to the caliber of, and there's some other folks I know that we'll find out on January 3rd when they're sitting in the audience and when y'all walk out and they're gathering around you. I'm gonna be like, ooh. Some I may recognize, which is good because I love when there's new ideas and old folks like us, are getting out the way and letting other folks step up and lead. And so listen, counselor, we really went in today. I know your time is limited. This platform is here when it comes to that community engagement from, not even live, but if you need a forum host or anything like that virtual, because there's still something going on with COVID. And we found out yesterday, and I know, and you'll get this, in our community, we're calling it Omarion, but the Omicron variant is in Boston in all seriousness. And so if there's virtual spaces that you need to conduct some of this stuff, definitely here to support you with that. But I'm excited. I am very excited. I heard about your candidacy. I will say this. I am, and Thaddeus is coming in. And so he'll probably be like, the brother. It is exciting to hear from you, your approaches and what it is that you are looking to do and change some of the systems and the way that they impact us in their intention when they were set up. You know what I mean? And so I just want to go in and review a couple of comments before we go. Dalita again is saying, we're not asking for perfection, counselor, because we don't have a perfect system. However, we will ask for transparency, respect, and boldness. And I think you kind of got that on lock already. And so, while there's always room, I say sometimes room for improvement, government has a canyon for improvement, but I think with folks like you there is definitely going to be awesome. And the good Sharon Cornelius, that's one of the audience members that I think next to me is the most popular in the Java Cafe. But it just speaks to the impression you gave with a lot of people, and that's why I asked folks like you to come into the room so they can get to know you. And then also it gives a sense of who you are. So when you ask things or explain things, they understand context. There's a whole different lens I have of you now in hearing just some of your story. And so I appreciate the time. I appreciate your candor and your realness. And I thank you. Thank you for coming in the cafe today. I'm excited about what's getting ready to happen in January. You're going in as counselor. Kendra's going in. We got Shagun going in as chief of economic development. We got Brianna that's getting ready to do some. There's some black and brown folks in City Hall on both sides of 5. And so at some point, can you help me, counselor, with once all the staffers get in, I want to get some of the new staffers on and just kind of like meet them, because those are the ones that sort of, carry out the work. And so I'll reach out to the other counselors as well. But I know a couple of people that's going in with a couple of your peers that are from the community, and they're going to be doing some constituent services, and some of these city departments are going to have to step up because these folks they come with some passion. I'll leave that right there like that. Counselor, any closing words, ma'am?
Jimmy, thank you. Sincerely. You're always so kind. Thank you. And thank you to my strategists. Shout out to Italo Feeney, to Calvin Feliciano, Noah Hicks, and Noah Coolidge. Shout out to Jaquetta Van Zant, Steve McKenna, and definitely shout out to Brianna Malore.
Yes. Hold on, because that's the Queen's sister. I just love all that she's doing right now. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Shout out to Brianna Malore, who is the first person who took me out to lunch to have the conversation with me to convince me to run.
So wait a minute. I asked you a few minutes ago what was the final, and it was Brianna. Go ahead and talk. I'm about to text her right now. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm going to clip this out and put it on Twitter. Go ahead.
She called me up. She said, we need to talk. I thought it was something else. It sounded serious.
Yeah, like you were
in person. We need to talk, sis, we need to talk. And she took me out to a restaurant and we sat down and she said, so what are we going to do? What are we going to do, sis? You need to run. No, you need to run. And when you get that from your sister, it means something. It's with love, and she believed in me, and she really said, no, I see it. You are made for this. You will be so good for this. You need to run.
Can I just pause and say that, during the mayoral, the preliminary, there was a sentiment that was out there around the need for more peer celebration among our queens. And so to hear that's the stuff that's not public. That's the stuff that the media doesn't hype, that you had another Black queen that has potential to do some stuff herself that was bigging you up and affirming you. And so I had to interrupt and really raise that the more, Counselor, because it's needed. We need to know that is, and it's happening, but to hear you articulate it based on what we were hearing in the media and observing, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So let me tell you more about that. I forgot my main person that helped me with this too is Rich Thuma. Shout out to Rich Thuma. Thank you. Delita Rocha is in here acting up, but she's one of the reasons I actually got elected. She is the reason, because she's the first with 32BJ, the only union along with 509, but 509 came because of 32BJ. Okay. The only union who endorsed first before the preliminary. So she believed in me, and because of her, then came Liz Miranda.
Yep.
Right. So shout out to Liz Miranda for holding down your sister. And that there's a celebration of more sisterhood. You see Delita, doing her thing, believing in me, bringing in the union, and then all the unions followed. You see the power in that. Shout out to our mayor, Kim Janey, and councilor. Believe it or not, right? So when somebody is helping you, but they don't say it, and you don't know it. But then you find
back. Yeah.
But then you see how everything is moving, and you just know. So I hope I'm not I hope I'm not shooting myself in the foot when I say this, but the sister was helping me the entire way, the entire time, silently.
Yep.
And I know because of the way all her people was moving. So she couldn't say anything, or she didn't say anything. It didn't matter. She was helping me. Her mom, shout out to Kim Janey's mom. She was like, I know I have to have a conversation with my family, but I believe in you and I want to vote for you, and I'm going to vote for you.
Listen, that's the mother. So that's some influence there.
Right. And she was the first. So all the Black women in my life, my sister, my cousins, my aunts, my mom, my grandma, those are the people who were on the phone, who were canvassing with me, right? Those are the people who were holding all my fundraising dinners, who were pouring in money, who was supporting me, who was there for me when I cried, when I complained. It's a lonely place because no one really truly, gets where you're going through when you're running for office. But shout out to my sons, because let me tell you, I have the most amazing sons.
Tell us about them. How old are they?
16 and 22.
You got a 6. Go ahead.
And 22.
Wait. You said 16. Usually people going backward. See how that got over on me real quick. It's 22. You got a 22-year-old?
I'm about to be 43.
I know, but you look fairly okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My sons put their hands on my shoulder and tell me, look at me in my eyes. When you have your sons, and I've always known this, me as a Black woman, raising Black men, Black boys in America is the hardest job in the world. Mm-hmm. The toughest job in the world is to raise Black boys in America. Mm-mm-mm. And raising my Black sons that we've built a relationship. I knew that I have to have my sons back, and my sons have to have my back, right? And for all the shout out to all the Black moms out there, you know what I'm talking about. we tend to sometimes the system tends to like make us think that we have to correct them or fix them or shape them or emasculate them, and instead, right, we have to uplift them, never let anybody talk bad about them, always making sure that the people see them in good light. Your son is beautiful, your son is brilliant, your son is amazing, right? Shout out to DJ Khaled. No, son. So the idea is that my sons are my best friends, my confidants. Mm-hmm. When I think about, you know what I mean, all that I went through, for my sons to put their hands around me and say, "We are proud of you. We believe in you, Mom." Mm-hmm. And you got this. It means the world to me. And shout out to every single, oh my God, every single senior voter, every single like African-American women, because y'all the one who got me in office, and African-American women come through every single time, and I'm here for it, and I'm here to return the favor. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. So shout out to every single Black woman in District 7, in Boston, in the world, because I open a business, Black women come through. I open theater, Black women come through. I need guidance, Black women come through. I run for office, Black women voted me in. So I got it. My priorities are clear and straight, and I'm ready.
That's it. Listen, I don't think there's nothing else that need to be said. Counselor, I appreciate you. Come back when you need to. And you know, I know the mayor had mentioned in her race that they're going to do this quarterly sort of community check-in, and I don't know if that's just going to be one side of 5 or whatever, but y'all come in and check in every now and then with, you know, with our Black and brown delegation that's part of the and I think that's a halfway majority of the city council, and so I'm here for it. And there are people in here. Look. She makes some dang amazing dresses too. Arts and culture. And Mama Sharon said that we're here. And so, Counselor, thank you so much. I know you probably have a 10 o'clock to get ready for. I'll be in touch with you. And if you get a chance, stop by on Saturday. I'll make sure you get the information, because we're supporting Black-owned businesses at Nia Grace's Underground on Saturday at 3 p.m. We're doing this live. I'm taking the computer out the studio, and we're going to go and have a Jimmy Mosa, and we got food and stuff down there.
What time are y'all there?
We're there from 3 to 5 on Saturday. So I'll make sure you get the information. And if I need to send it to your scheduler, let me know, because I understand that, because one of the best things you can do is not manage your own calendar. And for folks, when she start telling y'all that, hey, thank you so much for the info, I'm going to do my best, but can you contact, she's not being wonderful. She's trying to make sure that she keeps a calendar straight, because I wanted to put that out there now, because I'm about to do the same thing. Hey, can you hit Tay? Because she's handling my calendar. And so She's not being wonderful. She's being wise. With that being said, I feel myself get ready to fuss a little bit. Let me get you off screen, and Counselor, I'll talk to you, and I love you much.
Love you. Take care.
Thank you so much for coming in.
All right. Peace, brother.
That was our counselor for District 7, Tania Anderson, and it was definitely dope having her in the room. Listen, we're very close to time today, so please don't forget, tomorrow it will just be Chip in the room with me, as I mentioned yesterday, and I'm leaving her wonderful face there as a reminder for you all to keep her, also Wanelia Rivera, the Rivera Consultants team, and the community that is dealing with the loss of a loved one. Gina's not able to be in the room with us tomorrow at 9 a.m., but Chip will be with us. And then also, don't forget, on Saturday at 3 p.m., we will be at the Underground Cafe. Go and register. Seats are filling up. The only way you get a seat is if you register. There are complimentary drinks. I'm going to post the menu in a few moments. Here are the panelists. We'll have a one-on-one conversation with the cannabis fund manager. Also, our panelists around the theme of what's next for Black Boston will be Shauna Bryant, Kirk Fonstein, Conan J. Harris, Shagun Idawu, and Tanisha Sullivan. Go register at all lowercase bit.ly/JAVACAFE 1218. Register today. There will be Black and brown vendors at this event. And so come and get your last minute Christmas gifts and support some Black and brown businesses here from our own community. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. We will see you. Today's Thursday. Oh, no, I just said we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. And we're going to talk Chip and I are going to talk all things Boston Poly tomorrow at 9 a.m. So we will see you then. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And remember to stay thankful here on Thankful Thursdays. Peace.